FFO. What's going on, world? It's your boy VO the Face. FO. We back in the building.
That was a
50%
bad pick.
fuss, 50% fantasy football, 100% facts. Facts. And we just gonna kick more facts. You know who I'm with. Y'all know what we do. Let's kick these facts.
Better but they say I'm so sick, I need medicine, fool. You ain't better than me, I get credit when dudes step in the who. Man, you know I'm a veteran, these freshmen niggas, I'm a varsity letterman. Course set again, a course settlement. Have a pussy nigga running back like Edgerrin. Menacing, some niggas stick to the regiment before the metal click, click, boom to your relative.
Ooh, you hear them shots fired? Bow, bow. Y'all hear them shots fired, man? That's
Did
not
y'all
only
see
because
the
we taking
sprinkles?
shots, but we making shots, and we made it all the way to the top 50. I made it with these four gentlemen on this tall hike we got, and I just want to know, what do y'all got to say? What do y'all got to see? Jay Reese, let me know who you see in this top 50.
Whew, man, I want to bring some heat to you, man. A dude who really came on last year played for the Baltimore Ravens. That would be the boy, J.K. Dobbins.
Ooh,
134 rush attempts, 805 yards, 9 touchdowns,
facts.
18 receptions, 120 yards, and he didn't get no touchdowns in that category. Here is my only thing with J.K. Dobbins, man. It is a very small sample size of pass plays in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson is usually running 4,000 yards his own self. And with that also being said, man, they gave Gus Edwards a bag this year. So I think it's going to be the 1A and the 1B. You may see J.K. Dobbins' production go down a little bit, but I think you should still be safe according to his ADP.
Yeah, man. JK, man, is not just kidding, man. Like I think he might be for real this year with the exit of Mark Ingram and
Mm-hmm.
Gus Edwards is still there, but he's always kind of been a journeyman back. He's played for a few teams and been relatively productive. But I do think this is JK Dobbins' team now, man, coming out of Ohio State, I believe, with Dwayne Haskins. It's about time for him to shit or get off the pot. So I'm excited. Minnie, you grabbed your mustache shot. Did I say that right? Ohio State, right?
Yes, you are correct. Is it Ohio State? Yep.
All right, good. Because I'm over here grasping for straws like you grasping for your mustache, man. And I must ask you a question, silly C. Who do you see interesting in this top 50 to 26 level?
I want to start off with Kyler Murray.
Our
I
first quarterback of mention.
yeah, I think he's way too low on this list, and I think he definitely is somebody that could definitely outseed or outplay his production from last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's projected for 378 fantasy points this year, 12 interceptions, which kind of scares me a little bit, but 26 passing touchdowns, and that doesn't even include the others. So with a 3,900-yard passing season, I think he's definitely projected to be one of the top quarterbacks with the most weapons. Definitely get him in your lineup.
Yeah, man, it's curse of Kyler, man, because he's just in a really good division, man. With NFC West is arguably one of the toughest divisions. I'd probably say NFC West or AFC North currently, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough division. It's tough sledding for Kyler. He plays against good quarterback or offensive minded coaches. Stafford's in the division now.
Nobody
So
with a 67% completion ratio or completion percentage. Just saying.
yeah, I mean they might not have the best completion ratio, but please believe they're going to get their attempts in, and they still run some pretty efficient offense. Kyle Shanahan does not call no BS.
Right.
Pete Carroll's always been conservative, and we all know what Sean McVay is. Even if you talk to him, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
you could get a job in the NFL. So we all know about those people. I'm just wondering about Kyler Murray. Before we move on from him, Jay Reeves, can I flip you to some of his contemporaries? I think I seen Dak Prescott, Herbert, all these guys kind of ranked lower than him. Is there any trepidation that you'd have with a Kyler Murray pick for one of our fans' rosters?
Let me tell you right now, I'm taking Kyler Murray over Justin Herbert, over Dak Prescott, and just the type of players that I like on my fantasy team. Maybe, just maybe over Josh Allen. That is still a toss up in the air because Josh Allen likes to run that rock in himself. But it just seems like every time Kyler Murray's on the goal line, it's like a quarterback running back option. And he's always taking the option to run it in. I like Kyler Murray because he's a ball hog when you get to the goal line, and you need those 6-point touchdowns.
Yep.
Yeah, he is, but sometimes he runs with that ball like a loaf of bread out there, man. Cody, just because you shut off your mic, we can still hear you eating your food through your. Yeah, you got to shut off your mic too. Like just because you shut off your camera, I just like listen to you like eat your whole bite. But while you out here eating, we're gonna talk about other people that's eating because Kyler Murray has the second most rushing touchdown to somebody that's rounding out the top. Of this list, which is Josh Allen. Neither of you guys picked him to talk about him, but he was rostered by me in my league last year and took me really far. Obviously, I had MVP Aaron Rodgers on the team too. So we're talking about comps for Kyler Murray. Josh Allen actually has the most rushing touchdowns over the past 2 or 3 seasons, with Kyler Murray coming in second and Lamar Jackson actually finishing third. So that's a bar question that people might not always get right. I think that's a good little observation on Kyler Murray. Cody, good way to bring the quarterbacks to the table in a real way on this list. We'll
That's how
go
I
into
roll.
the yeah. Well, also eating with your fucking mic on. That's how you roll too. That's how you roll
It
too.
was good. It
So
was
we're
good
just
though.
learning
It
all
was
types
good
of stuff
though.
about you, but that's cool. That's what we're here to share ourselves. Jay Reeves, what else you want to share about this list from 50 to 26?
Oh man, it's funny that you were talking about Lamar Jackson because that is the very next dude that I do want to jump into. 242 completions, 3,127 27 yards, 26 touchdowns. The boy had 159 rushes for 1,005 yards and 7 touchdowns. This is the second year, guys, where he's rushed for over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. That man is electric when he gets the
Yeah.
ball in his hand. Not only do I want to talk about Lamar Jackson, somebody else you just may want to pick up. Go ahead and stack him up with Mark Andrews, man, because I think Mark Andrews, he's a solid tight end one, man. So, yes, get Lamar
Man,
Jackson and throw Mark Andrews on there while you at it.
Man, that's a tough one, man. Like, I think you might as well just let out the little bird call, man. You just named out 3 Ravens with JK, Andrews, and Lamar. Can I hear your best
Facts.
Raven call? Give me a Raven call real quick. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I think he's gonna do that on draft day, man. That
That
was
sounds like a
exciting to
peacock.
hear.
No.
I don't know, man. Well, obviously you're a little bit more of a bird connoisseur than we are. You know what I'm saying? But don't be looking for birds in Central Park because that's where the Karens be. So you got to be careful that they call the police on you, man. We're gonna go into somebody that won't call the police on you, but somebody that might help your fantasy team. Cody, who do you want to dive in this 50 through 26 range?
I want to go into Josh Jacobs. I was kind of shocked that he fell to where he did, but I think that he has the potential to have a really good year. The only thing that
Josh
kind of
Jacobs is a Raider. Let's not talk about him. Let's keep it
I
pushing.
know, I know,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I
Nah,
know.
we show
I
love to
think he
every
might
fan
have
base.
chance to get a good year only because of the fact that David Carr really hasn't proven himself and he was a beast last year. With that being said, I wouldn't draft him. I wouldn't even get close to him. I probably wouldn't even know anybody that even knew a Jacobs. Only because the fact that yeah, he's a Raider. I'm good, but if you have a chance, get him in your lineup.
Now, if we could just go ahead and just change all everybody's screen to black and white, like let's just see in black and white for a second, man. Josh Jacobs is a solid ass running back. I can't
Yes, he
believe that
is.
he's going in the places that he's going in these mock drafts. You have him down there with the level of people like ETN, Chris Carson. I feel like he's a much better option than them. A player that was going in the first or second rounds of
Last
a
year.
ton of leagues last year.
With
I don't think he's digressed all the way back to the third round. I know know it's not a huge drop, but that's huge in fantasy. Talking about building your running back core. He's an RB1. If you want to be a little risky in the first 2 rounds and not go running back, I wouldn't suggest that. You could check out a roster building show later, but he's an RB1 for sure.
He's
Minnie,
a
you're a Broncos fan. Give us just some Josh Jacobs hate, some reasons to not draft. Just go ahead. You can make it rain. You giving a Broncos fan? Go ahead. Just let us know.
Oh my God. This is one of those things that's actually really tough for me. If you're talking just fantasy purposes, I can't really give you many reasons not to take this guy, especially in that round. But as a Broncos fan, I will tell you, do not draft him because he plays for the Raiders and they are terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible. But that's just my take. But
Yeah.
I'm speaking on fantasy purposes here, and there's really nothing that you can really knock the guy about. There is one thing: is he doesn't have a solidified backup. Can he stay healthy for another now 17 season without a solidified hard-nosed backup? It's
Yeah.
all on him in the backfield. So that's my only issue.
Well, I mean,
273 carries
Yeah,
facts.
for 1,000 yards. If he
So,
continues to get those type of
3.9
carries,
yards rushing. That is
Yeah,
so
that's not-
disappointing.
but
Yeah.
273 carries, there's no way a running back can play that type of pace for
They can't
multiple
sustain it.
seasons.
Yeah.
It won't happen.
Actually, I think his carries may go down a little bit with the addition of Kenyon Drake, and also they have a revamped offensive line. He doesn't catch the ball enough for me, man. Like, he was barely catching the ball. I mean, all that production last year, and his fantasy points still wasn't really up that much. I had this man. He drowned my team a little bit. He looked great
Give
in
us
the
the
first
car
week against
fact.
Carolina when he dropped 3 touchdowns. But after that, he had a couple games where he really fizzled out. So
And that is a good point Jay Reese just made. My bad. I did forget Kenyon Drake is out there, so that could help him. It definitely could, but it will eat into his time a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be much of a difference from last season as far as yards on the ground and touchdowns.
Yeah, we were talking about the best backup running back in the league with the Kareem Hunt situation, and we actually might find ourselves in a similar conversation with Kenyon Drake. He's really solid, could be an RB one for most teams, but finds himself at a RB. Nah, not even a flex position on your team. What do you think value we could get from Kenyon Drake, Cody, if any?
I'm not really liking Kenyon Drake right at the moment. I really never liked him in Miami. Like, I think he's a good, or in Arizona. I think he's a good quarterback or running back, but I don't think he really has what it takes. I do think he will cut into the time. So that is definitely up in the air, and you want to watch that. But I don't think he's going to do enough to cut that much into the time. So I don't think he's going to be that much of a deal.
So to simplify your argument, you're saying the main thing Kenyon Drake might be efficient at is hating on Josh Jacob owners, and that's why he's taking the plunge in your fantasy drafts. That was everybody's pick on this one, but there was a versus battle this weekend with Dipsets in the lock, and it was super like crunch,
The
man.
lock killed him.
The locks, you know what I'm saying? The locks like went off. I chose Dipset, and I was wrong, man. The Broncos have a similar versus battle, not necessarily for positions on their wide receiver core, but positions on your fantasy team. We got Jerry Jeudy, who was ranked as, I believe, the 88th best player. I'm gonna go back a little bit, and Cortland Sutton, who I believe was at 71.
70.
Yeah, 70. All
Yep.
right, let's take a look. Yeah, so we had Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton at 71 and Jerry Jeudy at 83. Give us a Bronco spin, Mini man. What do you think about Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton?
Well, my kind of take is on it, and this is me watching practice stuff like that. Cortland Sutton's come back. He's looks like he's doing full drills, but he doesn't essentially look as good as he did this time last year. And I know he's got the knee injury, but Jerry Jeudy, I think, has better upside, and I think he's going to get you more receptions this year. I think he's going to get more yards. I think Cortland Sutton is more on that touchdown dependent, big gain kind of role. And I don't know if Cody or Jay Reese will agree with me on that, but I kind of feel like Cortland Sutton's your deep ball guy. Jerry Jeudy's going to get you 9 receptions, 90 yards, and a tutty.
Yeah, see, so I'm gonna bounce it off of Cody like you were about to pass it, but yeah, it's funny because we recorded this show 2 days ago. We're still in preseason form, so it didn't really work out. Wasn't the best content for the fan, but now we're getting ramped up and now we're going, and stuff has changed. I heard yesterday at practice, Cortland was catching huge balls down the
Oh, of
sideline
course.
in a 2 minute drill.
Ooh.
Also, like turning small plays into big plays. I heard Cortland was eating yesterday. I'm excited to see what he might bring back as far as
Of course.
spending the higher pick on the Bronco. I'd feel more comfortable with Cortland if his value was right. But we live in
Mm,
Colorado, so he's
mm,
overdrafted.
mm.
But
My main thing is the injury with him. Can he stay healthy? Is he there? I think Judy. We've heard the same thing about Judy in practice as well. He's making plays, man.
yeah,
Um, I'm
yeah,
talking.
both of
That
them are definitely
We're
making
talking
plays.
value
But
here, right? We're talking value as far as fantasy picks are concerned. Obviously, you can get Judy a little bit later, and I think you might get the same production, if not better. So if you're talking value, Judy's the way to go.
yeah, I think I'm in agreement. Like if you're talking value, Judy might be better because he give you similar production with a later pick. If you're
Right.
talking who I feel more comfortable with a higher pick on to get a Bronco on my team, I might do Cortland.
Right.
Cody, what do you think about Cortland, man?
I don't know. If you go
Three
back to two,
receptions, 6 targets for 66 yards, 0 touchdowns, 9 fantasy points last
if
year,
you
but
yeah,
a 22-yard catch average.
if you go back to 2018, he had 84 targets and 42 receptions, and he was sharing the backfield, with Emmanuel Sanders and a lot of those other receivers. But then if you go to 2019,
Yep.
he had 124 targets with 72 receptions. That is beast mode. He showed that he can definitely be the premier receiver. At that time, he had 15.4 yards per reception with
Yep.
6 touchdowns. And that was
That's
just when he was getting started. He
that's the
suffered
first
that
time every time he touches the ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, he suffered that big injury last year, so we have to see how he comes back.
yeah.
But based on his history, he's only scaling up. I think this could be a bigger year for him. I don't think Jerry Judy will touch what he does this year.
All right, man. Well, that's just that.
I like it.
I would spin it back, but this is getting kind of lengthy. We're at 17 minutes. We'll dive into some more Broncos information as well as the rest of the top 25. We made it to the top 25, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if you fuck with us. Subscribe so you stuck with us. It's FO 50% plus 50% fantasy football. 100% facts. Y'all know what time
Facts.
it is. Facts.
Facts.